Welcome to Doug's Cars. Today we are reviewing a 2015 M4 with a 6-speed manual transmission. This is actually my car. Several people have asked me when I'm going to review my other car. If you've seen my last video, it was my daily driver, which is an i3, just a fully electric car. And I went with this vehicle because it's the complete opposite of that car. That's very silent, and this car is very loud and very manual. And it's just a very nice difference to have when something that you just use for fun and for weekends, or in my case, for long distance driving, because the i3 just doesn't have the range necessary. This replaced a 2013 X1 35i that I had the Dean package installed on. It was a stage 2 tune, so it had 355 horsepower by itself. It was a great time to test out that Dean package. I got to tour their facility in Northern California. Actually, that was the only product they offered, and as a result I should have gotten their trunk badge, but I guess they don't see it that way because it wasn't $10,000 worth of equipment. This car though is still stock, with a couple of minor exceptions. When I first got the car, something that they've done more recently on German cars especially is put US market, or Canadian market as well, red turn signals, and I don't know why they go to the expense of adding a special lamp housing with a red lens instead of a yellow or amber lens for that. So I went ahead and ordered these, you might be able to see them blinking, from a supplier in Denmark that ships things fairly quickly and cheaply with DHL. So they're OEM European turn signals, and yes, I am a BMW driver who uses my turn signals, so I like for them to blink yellow as they should. I have also installed the rear fog light switch, which would illuminate in this area. I just have not gotten that coded yet. It does have to be coded remotely. I don't have the capability of coding it on my own. And as far as other exterior things go, this gray metallic is one of the factory colors, and one of the options that this car came with are the 19-inch wheels in black and silver, which I think just make this car look perfect. I know the newer models, the CS models, come with those crosshatch wheels like on an old Trans Am, and this may be unpopular, but I just do not care for those. These look so much better in my opinion, and they work really well with this paint. So I purchased this car as a CPO, certified pre-owned, from BMW. It's got a year's extra warranty. I guess they've gone through it some and all that, which is a nice peace of mind. But it is a manual transmission car and a fairly low option car, which is probably why I got a good deal on it. So I was just looking for something fun for the weekends. I wasn't looking for all the bells and whistles. If this was my daily driver, there are certain features on this car that are missing that I probably would appreciate more. But one of the things that has been talked about on the forums a lot, especially compared to the previous model, is the roof rack. Now, pretty much every BMW has these little plastic flaps here, and inside there's a bolt housing that you can screw in one of the factory OEM roof racks to. This car has these little plastic tracks, and they have the flaps, but there's no bolt in there. And the previous E90 M3 sedan and coupe had that. Even with the carbon fiber roof, this car does not have the sunroof. But they didn't drill them out in this, and I've read people actually drilling them out and installing these, but I'm just not willing to tackle that, because if you shatter this carbon fiber, that's not going to be good. Other than that, the other main thing that this car is lacking for some reason, that is just a little annoying if you're used to it, is it does not have comfort access. It has comfort start. I don't need to put the key in. There's nowhere for the key to go, but you can't just walk up to the car and unlock it with the handle like pretty much any other BMW. And it's just surprising that that's an omission that was an option in the 2015 model year, when it just seems to come on a lot of their other vehicles. One thing that people use that for, though, is the ease of trunk access. And I know on certain other cars you kind of wave your foot under the bumper and the trunk pops open, which is great if you've got a big load in your hands. But you can use it with the key, and because the trunk lid is carbon fiber, if you simply do that, it opens itself. And that's, it's not that big of a deal. So it's an absolutely immense trunk. The seats fold down, and it's just got more load capacity than you can think of in a coupe. But I'm just not going to go into too much of a detail of exactly just of a car review of this vehicle, because it's at the end of its production life cycle, and chances are if you're watching this, you already know the specs and the figures and the facts about this car. I'm just going to go over my 6-month ownership history with the vehicle and the oddities, good and bad, of living with this car. Another thing you might notice is that this car, of course, it's a very gorgeous car. The design is just fantastic, but it is a coupe. And by that I mean a 2-door. It's got one door here and one door on that side. So hey, car manufacturers, this is a coupe, not a 4-door. That's a sedan. Coupe, one door each side. Sedan, 2 doors each side. It's very simple. All you have to do is figure that out. So we'll move to the inside now, and I'll just talk about some of the things that really interest me in this car. There's another YouTube vlogger by the name of Nick Murray, who is from some place he calls Connecticut, I'm not sure where that is, who had an M4 for several years and made a bunch of movies about it. And I must say I have to agree with him on a lot of things, but especially on the leather in this car. It is, I don't want to really use the term glove soft because it's not quite to that level, but it is so much better to the touch than anything you get in a non-M BMW. I don't know why they don't offer this quality of leather in those cars, but they just don't seem to. One of the few options this car was given from the factory was the leather dashboard. It's a full leather option, and I'm really glad they did that. It really classes up the interior and sets it apart from the bog standard 3 or 4 series with the rubbery feeling dashboard. It's just got French seams, and it's just a fantastic place to be. Another fun little thing about these seats, this little silver button here with the M logo on it lights up at night. Not when you're driving, but when you unlock the car. It's kind of a welcome thing. And it's just a nice, interesting, fun little touch that actually when I got this car were broken. They lit up, but they were cracked and discolored. And they were replaced under warranty, no questions asked, which is great because they're about $100 each. And it just makes the interior look that much nicer that they're new. Oh, the other thing that I was going to talk about was I installed the rear fog lights switch. They still need to be coded in, and that will be done in the near future. We don't get rear fog lights in this country for some reason in these cars. Audi seems to think that they're okay to send to the US, but not BMW. I don't know why they bother changing that out. Make a whole new switch without the fog light button on it. And right below it is this neat little cubby, which is actually quite deep. It's great for things like concealed carry, if that's something you do. It's lined in felt, and that is where a switch panel will go if you had some of the extra options, such as I think the lane assistant or lane change assistance and blind spot warning buttons would be in there. So those 2 buttons take up that whole cubby for some reason. But I prefer to use it for storage, and it is nicely lined. It will not rattle, and it just makes a neat little extra hidden place to put some things. So I've moved inside the car now just to highlight a couple little things. Something that I know other vloggers talked about, but something that's also annoying to me is when you buy a car that doesn't have all the options on it, they like to just leave little blank switches everywhere just to show you that you didn't get all the goodies. They didn't do that here. In this car, there would be other switches here for the rear view camera and a few other things. This car does have the M adjustable suspension, which is the 3rd and final option that the original owner chose. But in this area here, there would be other buttons. Instead of showing blanks, it's just a nice piece of soft touch black plastic. It doesn't make it look like you forgot to check the option boxes. It looks like you have everything you're supposed to have, and that's just a really nice attention to detail. Another thing I did take care of when I purchased this car is I replaced my sun visors with these that don't have the silly airbag stickers on them. Again, from that place in Denmark, these are OEM sun visors. They function perfectly, and they're just the European models. They don't have the airbag warning in English and French. And it's just right in front of you. You see it all the time, and to me it was worth the money to change them out and a week's worth of shipping from Europe. So there's one Easter egg in this car that I have not actually personally seen identified as such. So I'm going to demonstrate what that is, and that's how you start the car with the exhaust in the loud mode. And at the same time, I'm going to have another camera underneath the vehicle demonstrating what that sounds like. So what you need to do is turn the car on, but not start it. Then, using, in my case, the M1 button, which puts it in Sport Plus mode, you then hit the gas all the way to the floor, and you can hear an electronic sound of the flaps being open in the exhaust. That enables the exhaust to be fully open when you start the car, which otherwise it does not do. This is the only way you can make it happen. And then when you start the car, it gets really loud really fast. With that little rumble at the end. That just never gets tiring. So a lot of people have complained about the exhaust note in this car, and I don't see why. This is not the V8 E90, which was a fantastic car in its own way, and that had a great V8 exhaust note. This does not have that. It will probably never have it again. They will probably never do a normally aspirated V8 M car. So to me, this car sounds great, and I don't see any need for an aftermarket exhaust, but that's just my personal opinion. But this is also my personal car. So there you have it, a 6-month review of my 2015 M4, a car that really delights me every time I drive it. And I could drive this every day, it's that nice of a car, but I have a little electric car that costs me almost nothing to drive every day. And so this gets to be reserved for truly fun times, or when I need to take a long trip, which you can't do in an i3. It is a delight to drive, and on my binary scale, with 1 being yes I would own it, and 0 being I would not, this is obviously a 1, because this is my car. Thanks for watching, and see what we have coming soon, right here on Doug's Cars.